Hello, and thank you for joining my channel. Today I'm showing you how I make my body butters. So I have my butters here. My recipe includes mango butter, shea butter, cocoa butter, rice bran oil, vitamin E, arrowroot powder, my fragrance, and some micas, coconut oil. So I melted my butters on a double broiler on low heat, and then I keep it on my counter for about half an hour before I put it in the fridge. After I put it in the fridge and it's cooled down a bit, I put it in my freezer. You can tell here that my butters are very solid. So I actually took it out of my freezer and I had it on the counter for about 3 hours before I started whipping because it was a little bit too solid. So I have my stand mixer here. I got this at Costco. At the time it was for $160. It works well. I've had it for a couple of years now. So while you're whipping your butter, you're going to stop in between just to make sure you push all the butters down. So when you're whipping it, everything gets incorporated. Because if you don't do this, then you will have just solid butters on the side. So I'm showing you here where there's a little bit of graining going on, and that usually happens from the shea butter. Apparently they said that it's if your shea butters are too hot, but to be honest with you, my shea butter was not too hot. I think it's because I had it in the freezer and it solidified for too long. I'm not really sure because I've done this before with this same exact shea butter, and I never left it in the freezer for too long and it was perfectly fine. However, there are ways where you can fix it. So how I fixed mine is I put it back on a double broiler and I make at least half of the butters melt where it's nice and warm, and then I put it back on my mixer and blend it together so that the warm butters along with the solidified butters blend together, and it will help to just melt all the butters because the graininess is just butters that are not fully melted. So I did that so that if you have graining in your butters, it's okay. If you want a smooth finish, just put it back on a double broiler on lower heat than you had it, like let it melt on very low heat, and then you just go back in with your mixer. You can make the whole entire butters liquefy, and then you can put it back in the fridge. But to save myself some time, I just make half of it, at least half of it melted, where it's warm enough where when I'm blending it, the heat from the liquid butters and oils um, smooth out the solid part. So as you mix, you still have to go in, check the butters, check the consistency, and also use your spatula or your spoon and just push it down from the side so that you're incorporating everything. So what I'm looking for my butters is stiffness. So once I take it and I mix it and I have stiff peaks, like you can use your spoon or your spatula, and once the peaks are stiff, then you're okay. Here I have these aluminum jars or pans that I got from the dollar store, and I have my micas in there. I mixed my micas with my fragrance oils. You can also mix it with your carrier oil just to make sure that it disperses properly, because sometimes micas can form little balls, and when you're mixing, the balls get tend to get all mixed up in the butters and it doesn't incorporate properly, and then when you're putting it on your skin, there's a little patch there of color. So I tend to put it in oils or just disperse it a little bit so that you don't get that. And I'm adding in my arrowroot powder and my vitamin E in here, and then I use my hand mixer and I blend it all in just to make sure that I get all the colors in. And then you're going to use your spatula again just to make sure that all the colors from the bottom is getting mixed in with the butters so that you don't have colors just not mixing properly, so you get a good consistency. So you just continue to blend it, not for too long, just enough so that you can incorporate the colors. And the scent that I'm using here is pineapple sage. It smells lovely. It really does. It's just a really great scent. It's one of my best sellers. So it's just fresh. It's refreshing. It's just nice. So it's a great scent. So if you've never tried pineapple sage, you should try it. It smells lovely in candles as well, body butters, sugar scrubs. It's just a body wash. It's just a really really nice scent. So now we're moving on to piping. I have my bags here. It's not a bag, it's like a plastic wrap. It's a cling wrap, and you can buy any cling wrap or any plastic wrap. There's the peel and stick wrap, which works really well, just the same. But if you're trying to not spend too much money, then you can definitely buy cling wraps. Cling wraps are better than just the regular plastic wrap because the cling wrap actually stick together, they cling together so that you don't have too much mess. So if you're going to do it this way, then it's best to get plastic wrap that clings together. So when you're laying the plastic out, you have to lay it where you're forming layers on each other, because if this falls apart, then you have a big mess. Your colors don't blend properly how you want it. You don't get the look that you want. And then the cleanup is just a mess. There's going to be butters all over the place, and you're just going to waste products. So it's best to make sure that it's definitely put together well, and so that you don't have it breaking apart. Now, once you get all your butters onto the cling wrap, you're going to fold it over and seal it. And this is why I said it's best to use the cling plastic wraps, because it holds it properly and it seals it properly. So I'm just getting the ear out and just rolling it around to get the ear out. So I'm just adding an extra piece of cling wrap so that I make sure that my bag is secured, so there's no chance of it breaking open. So I'm using this piping tip. I'm not really sure the size. I can definitely link it down below. And I got this piping bag from Amazon. It is washable. It is cloth-like on the inside. It's waterproof. So I like it because it's really big and it works really well for what I'm doing, because this is a lot of butters in here, and I don't really have to keep buying new re disposable bags. So this one works best for me. It does have a seal on the side that you can see the glue, but I've used it twice and I have had no issues. Okay, so I have my jars. I did clean my jars with 99.9% alcohol with paper towel. So that's how I clean my jars. I really don't put it in a bucket of water and wash it and stuff. 99.9% rubbing alcohol does the job as well. So I'm doing my piping here. I got my jars from Windy Point, and the reason why I got my jars from Windy Point is because I noticed that when I buy my jars from Windy Point, the sizes are consistent. When I buy my jars from Amazon, my sizes are not really consistent. And the last thing I do when it comes on to my process here is I weigh my butters to make sure that everything is at the same amount so that when I price it, customers get what the jar says. So these are my samples, and this is me testing and showing how it works. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Take care.